A very warm good afternoon to you all. And the program that we are going to have today is something very special and something very important. And as we have established a forum called Dialogue on International Affairs, with a view to making all of us aware about how the world runs, why the issues taking place somewhere in the corner of the world directly or indirectly impact us, and how we need to be aware about those things. For the very reason we have established this dialogue on international affairs, and I'd like to welcome you all to this program today that we are going to have talk on Nepal-Sri Lanka relation and its role in regional development. And today we have invited a special guest to our forum, and we are so much privileged to say thank you so much to His Excellency Mr. W.M. Seneviratne, Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Nepal. And first of all, I would like to welcome again to this forum, and I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to His Excellency, because he has at least provided us some time to talk about international affairs, and he's going to talk about Nepal and Sri Lanka relation and how it can, in a way, contribute in making both the countries or much better in the days to come, and how this program can help make us understand about the relation that is not talked that much but heard a lot, felt a lot. And sometimes we need to talk about those things that are felt, though we do not talk that much a lot. Now, let me talk about this program in brief first. This is a forum that has been incepted by AIDA, and one of the young organizations chaired by a young person called Mr. Sunil Kesey. And we are so much thankful to Orbit International Education that has provided us this venue and worked day and night to make us work on international affairs. So that, once again, I would like to extend my thanks to Orbit International Education as well, and especially the management team that has all the time encouraged us to work in these kind of innovative ideas. And before we get into the formality of this, and I'd like to welcome again His Excellency Mr. W.M. Seneviratne on the dais, please. May I have pleasure to invite you, Your Excellency, on the dais. Let's give a big hand, please. Thank you, Your Excellency, for being so kind enough to give us some time regarding to talk about Nepal and Sri Lanka relation. And now let me move forward, and I'd like to invite here the CEO of AIDA to give a welcome speech, Mr. Sunil Kesey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Malla. Ladies and gentlemen, especially Residential Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Nepal, W.M. Seneviratne, I would like to express my deep respect to him for accepting our invitation to speak in our fortnightly event called Dialogue on International Affairs. AIDA started this event on July 4, and then this event is going on for a year to discuss on international affairs of South Asian region. And then today we are going to discuss, and then His Excellency is going to present its presentation on about Nepal-Sri Lanka relation, because we are in the year of crossing the diplomatic relation between Sri Lanka and Nepal in the 60th year of diplomatic relation. And then Sri Lanka and Nepal have a very common views, and we are sharing the common views in international arena such as United Nations, and then we are a member of SAARC, and then also we are a member of WTO, and then we are also a member of BIMSTEC. So it's a good platform for the distinguished participant to interact with Excellency on about Sri Lanka-Nepal relation and its role in regional development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kesey, for welcome speech. In fact, if you share the commonalities, there is an attachment, and that attachment eventually helps us to get bound. and we are bound, having mutual relation between Nepal and Sri Lanka, in fact. We have a lot of commonalities, as he has already talked about. And now I would like to welcome His Excellency to give his presentation on Nepal-Sri Lanka relation and its role in regional development. And for your kind information, once His Excellency completes his presentation, we will be having interaction session. We expect very genuine questions that will eventually help us to make Nepal and Sri Lanka relation much better in the days to come. Thank you so much.
Very much, Mr. Mandar. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the Orbit International Education Center and AIDA. Mr. Sunil Casey, Chief Executive Officer and a founder of the Asian Institute of Diplomacy and International Affairs. Distinguished members of the audience. First of all, let me welcome you to the program today on behalf of the Ambassador of Sri Lanka and our mission. First of all, I would wish to congratulate Mr. Sunil Casey organizing this institute called Diplomacy and International Affairs of the Asian Institute, which also gives the highlights, then of course giving them opportunity to meet each other, to have your ideas and talkings, learning, of course the latest publications, research, meetings, a kind of think tank. So my greetings to him and greetings to the Institute, which have already contributed the immense to the public like you to have the fresh information, knowledge for the participation of this kind of talks. Now when we are talking about this, the AIDA also giving in depth of talking, learning, research institute, incoming and inviting the distinguished gathering like here today to focus on. So my topic of course goes to the, as Mr. Sunil Casey mentioned, the Sri Lanka-Nepal relations. So before that, I would like to give some brief introduction about Sri Lanka. Before we talk about the Sri Lanka-Nepal relation, we should know about the Sri Lanka, because we also have the history, development, economic indicators, lot of development for the last number of years. So we are making a role within the SAARC, BIMSTEC, as well as the international arena. So let us see about Sri Lanka. So first of all, I will welcome you for Ayuvan, for Namaste. So this is the way of traditionally greeting. So this is how do we live together. May you live long. That is how we treat you. You have a long life, long life. May you be the blessing of the life. Now the Sri Lanka, 3 parts. So we have approximately 1 hour program. So I will have a talk about 30 minutes, giving 3 details, brief about Sri Lanka for 7 to 8 minutes, then of course Nepal-Sri Lanka relation, as well as the role in development, regional development. How do we get together to work for the country, work for the unity, work for the region. Now look at Sri Lanka, brief about Sri Lanka. So the national flag, and of course in any case we always talk about, we welcome you to again Sri Lanka. So now we have a lot of historical facts, beaches, then we call it Indian Ocean, Pearl of Indian Ocean, the Arab call Serendip, Taprobin. So they have a lot of names, and we call Shillong also. Now look at the map of Sri Lanka, where the location. So all the 5 continents are there. The Sri Lanka, the star is there. So this is a strategic location of Sri Lanka. Yeah. Then the country-wise, the Asian-wise, regional-wise. So this is the location, the continental-wise. So Indian subcontinent, we also belong to that particular area. Now the red color, you can see that the Sri Lanka is also the important center for the world trade. How? The red color line from east to west. If you get the items from shipping lines from Middle East, USA, Canada, it comes Mediterranean Sea, then of course come directly, go closer to Sri Lanka. That is why 3 years ago we had one of the largest international harbour which was built in just 20 kilometers away the sea route. So we are 20 years ahead, we are focusing on strategic location of the trade. So within the SAARC members, so we can see that our 8 members of the SAARC, we are locating in Sri Lanka, being a small island. So we have the golden beaches and a lot of beaches area, the southern part of Sri Lanka, various countryside. Being an island, we have a lot of beaches. So the hill countryside, of course, not like the Himalayan range, we don't have much. The total height was around 8,000 feet above the sea level. So the tropical climate, we have the, like a stupa, we have that Bauddhanath, Swambhunath here. So we have the 3 times bigger than that particular stupa. Over 2,500 years of our history. So the Sri Lanka also 15 national parks. So these are the pictures. So like you, the tea, still we produce the best tea of the world. Like you have the Tokla tea and the Elam tea, also the one of the best tea this part of the world. So this is the tea gardens, if you look at that. So 250 acres of the botanical garden, one of the best in Asia, located in Peradeniya, Kandy. So we have over 355 waterfalls, over 100 meters, sometimes 50 meters. So likewise. So this is the 8th century BC World Heritage. So the rock of Sigiriya, we had over one of the kingdom of the King Kashyap. Historical monuments, one of the 12 important places. So this is also the history go back to over 2,500 years. So now Buddhism, the birthplace of Lumbini, is the birthplace of the Lord Buddha. So which is resemble for us, being a Buddhist country, majority over 70% of the population. So we have set Buddhist principle and started from the way back King Ashoka, Dharma Ashoka, who sent his son and daughter to Sri Lanka with the Buddhism. So since then, over 2,500 history, we were having the majority of the Buddhists. So history, 1505, we had the Portuguese. So 1678, we have the Dutch. Then of course 1815, the British conquered throughout the country. So we have 3 colonial masters who conquered partly and throughout the country, according to history. So from British, the Portuguese, we got trade. So right side will be the how do we able to benefit from them. Yeah. Then of course English education. So 1948 we got our independence. So British colony, they call it Ceylon. That is how the Ceylon was there. But until 1972, until amend the constitution, it was there. Then Sri Lanka. Yeah. So the emblem, the map of Sri Lanka. So this is the total 65,000 square kilometers, the 430 kilometers length, and the 225 kilometers. So official name, Democratic Social Republic of Sri Lanka. Then the area. So the total area, almost 220% of Nepal. Well, we have 65,000 square kilometers. And the population 21 million, Nepal of course 28 million. Population growth is very minor, very minimum, only 1%. Literacy rate almost 94%, male, female. So we have the government schools over closer to 10,000. Yeah. Ethnicity, Sinhala, Tamil, Indian Tamil, Moor, Burgher, then the religion-wise Buddhist, Hindu, Islam. So the ethnic groups. So 74% Sinhalese. So Indian, Tamils, so total we have the 18%, Muslims 7.9%. So these are the religions. So these are the historical the symbol of the religion. The languages, we have 3 languages, Sinhala, Tamil and English. All 3 languages are equal in the parliament, education, everywhere. Alphabet, English, of course, literacy rate, as you mentioned, 94%. So total government, and we have also the private schools. So we have the most important thing here, education is free up to PhD. So education is free up to PhD. So free midday meal we give government, scholarship for the needy students. Then we have the textbooks free, uniform free up to grade 5. So now from this year onwards, education is 100% compulsory. Nobody can't keep a student in the house. You have to send it. Otherwise they will come and police will check it. Why you are not sending your child to the school? So this is the situation now we have. We believe that if we send a good education, there is no problem at all. And also we have that health facilities up to bypass is free in Sri Lanka. If you go to Sri Lanka, go to a doctor, they don't ask what is your problem and the name. They don't ask the charges, nothing. Even the medicine is free. Hospitalization is free. But if you want to go to private colleges, private hospitals, you have to pay. Both are equal. So the economic indicators. So we are targeting 2003. Our 2016 we targeted that. How do we do that? So up to 2009 we had the problem for the last 3 decades or 30 years. So growth rate we were able to sustain. Now of course about 9%, closer to 8%, but 2009 it was around 5%. Because economy is going away, the war is going away, terrorism is the other way. So we separated and we continue for our growth rate. Now we are also leading one of the leading per capita income of this region. So we are targeting $4,000 at the end of 2016. Then our total gross domestic product will be over $100 billion. Yeah, at the moment of course we have the 59 billion. So rupees, $1 equal 30 rupees. Now the budget 2014 we have 15.26 billion. Now we are targeting next year, now we are focusing on $18 billion. Now in the case of Nepali budget, what is the total amount? Anybody? Yeah, actually in dollar term, approximately $6 billion. So we can change that we have 18 billion. So here the 6 billion. Why you don't want to import other things from outside? So we have the less population, but we also depending on the importation and export, foreign trade. So that is also one of the reasons. Because your prosperity is there, we also don't import much food items from outside, but sometimes because of the free economy, even the toffee also imports. So this is the service sector in Sri Lanka, the 42%. Now other important thing here, the all share price. Now if you look at the NEPS, Nepal share market, 5 months ago, before the new government come into power, it's only the 500. Now over 4 months period, it has come up to 1,000, surpassed the 1,000. So likewise in Sri Lanka 2009, we had only the 600 share market. Now one of the second largest growing share market in Sri Lanka, over 6,661, that is end of July 2014, the share market. So we have the the foreign direct confidence, investors. That is why coming. Now Nepal also, we have that level coming up. So the GDP, $67 billion, and the GDP per capita 3,200, per capita income 3,200 crore. So the currency. Yeah. So domestic commercial bank, we have to import the country. If we have the financial market, international banks, they are coming up. because we released our free economy in 1977. So we have no way, even if I take $20,000, I can take it immediately. No charging, nothing. Why you are taking 20,000? They don't ask anything. But legally, most of the countries allow only 9,999. Below $10,000, even you can take cash. Some countries there are restrictions, but you can take the international banking, sending the money. So the revenue, of course, we have the three kind of things over there. Revenue 1,551, and the tax. Important thing here now, Sri Lanka also, the getting salaries, they have to pay the income tax. Of course, sale tax, other import tax are there, each and every country. But in Sri Lanka now, the high bureaucracy, they have to pay the taxes from their earnings. Then public hospitals 593, private hospital 197. As I said that we provide 100% hospital facility for the needy people. So bypass is free, so the hospitalization is free, even the medicine if it is available also giving free of charge. Yeah. So these are the poverty gap. Now if you look at the Sri Lanka situation, our poverty gap is below 2%. We have also poverty, there are thousands of people no income, but gap is less than 2%. So that is the most important thing there. Inflation. Before 2009, we had almost 13% double digit inflation. Unemployment. Without jobs, we had over 12%. Now it has come down to 4% like a developed country. Why? Government has a lot of avenue for the developments, social welfare, service sector. So we give a lot of important things. Now for example, now the government has decided to give the SME, small medium entrepreneurship. We have to go to the bank. Now bank will come to the village, talk to the people, within 3 days they give the loan. So bureaucracy has come down to 0%. If they do not giving 3 days or 1 week period, they are responsible for the government. Government asks why you are not giving that. Whatever the said and done, explanation in material. If the needy people is there, we have to give the facility service. So that is the theme that the government has indicated to the people. So exports. Now imports. Our total import of course 20 billion almost. But we export 9.7. Gap is almost 10 billion. So last year the government decided the gap is too much. It's very difficult to complete that. So government decided to increase 200% tax for the importation of vehicle. So not like here, to import a vehicle is in Sri Lanka it's very difficult now. 300% depending on the CC. If it's a normal vehicle, 200%. Why? Government wanted to bring the trade gap down. So then unnecessary things they are not importing. Because of the free economy, anybody can import anything. Now the tax component is there. Now the trade gap is come down. So these are export products. Tea industry still we maintain the best tea of the world, and the rubber of course byproducts. Coconuts is also the traditional exports, and the tea, Dilma, and still we can find that if you go to Bath Botany, then of course the Sailways you can find the Dilma tea. So Tokla tea of course also very good, but then we invited the Nepal Tea Association to visit Sri Lanka to learn about that manufacturing, marketing, and then we have the Tea Research Institute. How do we get the tea taste and the things over there, and improvement of the quality of the tea. That is why we have we maintain the best tea of the world, but very expensive. Yeah. So these are the spices like Nepal. So other important thing here, this is also the contribute to the source of income. The gem and jewelry is the most important thing here. We export a lot of gems, especially to the Western world as well as the Eastern like Korea and Japan. So over 900 factories we have. How do we resolve that unemployment? The people, everybody wanted to visit the country, the cities, but in Sri Lanka the other way. So every 10 villages there is a factory. So all the unemployment, people wanted to go there and serve that. So likewise, we have over 100,000 people worked re-awakening program introduced by the late president. So now lot of development projects in Sri Lanka. So now the housing and a lot of things over there, and new hierarchy buildings, and the International Trade Center. So the highways, the important thing here, to development, of course, we have to have the highways. Now earlier, it took 2 hours from airport to Colombo, now only take 20 minutes. Earlier to 200 kilometers, it took 6 hours. Now only 120 kilometers per hour, only 1 hour and 50 minutes. So likewise, we expanded. After 2009, we spent a lot of money for the purchase of weaponry, but we stopped it after the war. And we spend all these monies for the development. That is how these highways, things are coming up. Yeah. So Colombo city and the harbour. So the development, the traffic, one of the efficient Asian harbours, Sri Lanka is number 2. Because if we get a container, within 6 hours they have to dispose it. So that is the efficiency. Otherwise we have to pay the demurrage. So likewise we have the railway system. If the railway is coming at 2 o'clock, buses are also ready at 1:50. So there is no way spending extra time to get the catch of the bus. So we have that to come to like Kathmandu, to Colombo, we take 300 kilometers away from the city. So likewise we have the fast train system, and the other one of the tourism. So these are we introduced recently, the air taxi. So this complete around 60, 40, 20 people. So not more than Nepal rupees 2000 to go to 100 kilometers away. 20 minutes they will be there, have the lunch and come back. So this is what we are attractive, and a lot of attractions given to the tourists. So these are the new arrival and lot of shipments and the ferry service coming from India, East Asian countries to Sri Lanka, to Colombo harbour. So air, sea, then we have the lot of other travel. So this is the second international harbour where we had that. It was very necessary, because even Colombo, Kathmandu also, we need to have a second international airport. So when we have the growth rapidly, developments, so we needed that kind of things due to some climatic situation. So executive president, the president, prime minister, cabinet, members of parliament. So the present president, present prime minister, and the parliament, of course, we have 225 seats, member of parliament, 196 of course appointed by the people, 26 by the national list. So we have this 83-9 problem of the Tamil Tigers started to have a separate country where the population is 10%. So the Tamil population everywhere throughout the country, but these Tamil Tigers, they needed a separate country. So government say one country, one nation. So their target is 10% population asking 2/3 of the coastal area, 1/3 of the land. So government say one country, one nation. There are no dividends. So they fought it with the arms group, our army. So finally we decided, we had 30 years discussion, nothing happened. So they have the discussion to get the weaponry in. So then our present president decided to eliminate the terrorism, not the Tamils or not other things. So we are living peacefully now, no problem at all in Sri Lanka with regard to the terrorism. So now we are coming to our topic. Very briefly, Sri Lanka-Nepal relation. So, if you look at the history of our diplomatic relation, we established our diplomatic relation in 1957. So, Sri Lanka embassy established here in 1993, and Nepal embassy established in Colombo 1995, and both are the members of the SAARC. Because of the SAARC, we have the close and cordial relation. So bilateral relations come to the high level when the head of the state visit to a particular country. So our president visited here 2009 March as well as the 2009 October. So we have signed almost 13 agreements with Nepal. So these are the MOU 1996. So various agreements on trade, culture, education, then the avoidance of the tax, students. We have, yeah, we can do that. Then of course, we have the private also MOU signed by the now Peradeniya University to the Tribhuvan University. Likewise, individual institute educational, they have signed also agreement. So we have two agreements to be signed in the future during our president's time. So the one of the important sector is the cultural. So we have the cultural links between Sri Lanka and Nepal over centuries. Of course, we established our diplomatic relation very close by, but we have the cultural relation over 2,500 years ago. So we have also the two associations. Now, like establishment of Sri Lanka and Nepal Friendship Association in Kathmandu, likewise they have the Nepal Sri Lanka Friendship Association in Colombo. So 1992 we established a pilgrim rest in Lumbini. So why we have the interest of that? A lot of Sri Lankan Buddhists wanted to visit Lumbini, and the Lumbini Development Trust and the Sri Lanka KFC has to develop in Lumbini area, because at the moment if you look at that Professor Kenjin plan in Lumbini area, there are 48 monasteries divided into two parts, Theravada, Mahayana. So here we have that Theravada, Mahayana and Vajrayana. So likewise, lot of countries have their own traditional temple in Lumbini. So we also have our own temple over there. And in addition to that, we have go away that to develop the Lumbini area, which is very important. Now, like in Sri Lanka side, we just completed our gate number 4. There is a bridge towards which is the shortcut to the Mayadevi temple. Now, most of the people, those who are walking and traveling, using this bridge. So we are also widening the roads closer to that area, our own area. Then we have completed our Sri Lanka pilgrim rest like a star hotel. So we can accommodate over 135 people per day. Because when the Sri Lankan people visiting Lumbini, no spaces also, they have to go to Indian border and come back. So they come only to Lumbini to see the Mayadevi temple. After 6 hours they leave there. So we decided, no, you have to come there, go to Kapilavastu, most of the other areas, and see the beauty and see the Lord Buddha's history and the sculpture. Now King Suddhodana, lot of it over there. So they now stay couple of days and go there. So that is why we wanted to have our own pilgrim rest for the Sri Lankan people. So the Mayadevi temple. So Mayadevi temple is the birthplace of the Lord Buddha, one of the greatest place on the earth. So we respect world Buddhists, irrespective of the religion. Most of the people visited Lumbini. Likewise in Sri Lanka, the Lord Buddha's one of the first tooth relic is located in the Kandy temple of tooth. That is why more resembles like a Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha. So we have the temple of tooth, the Lord Buddha's one of the tools. So most of the world Buddhist people or other visitors also traveling to all these two places. So that is the bridge which we have constructed. Now already we have done the tar and the things. So this is the Sri Lankan monastery. So this is the pilgrim rest, which we can accommodate 135 people per day. We have the 4-star rooms, 5-star rooms, very simple, 2-3 rooms, and 4-star. Then of course we have the air condition, heating, cooling. All the things are there to accommodate. So the education. Actually we spend over 300 million rupees for the development area of the cultural side in Lumbini area. So the education. So now at the moment we have Sri Lankan 150 students in Nepal. So if you look at the Pokhara University, we have 125. Then we have 12 students in Tribhuvan and another 8 students in Kathmandu University. In addition to that, we have also the private institutes following the different courses. So government also offers a free scholarship for the Nepali students. So annually We also offer approximately 10 scholarships. Even this year onwards, we are giving airfare also. Except MBBS and dentistry, but we have the offered undergraduate, master and PhD. Because I can remember that last year we got a PhD student, those who were here. So we encouraged them to go there. So now they are very happy. So we have signed the bilateral agreement in 2009. Any Nepali student goes to Sri Lanka, visa is free. We accommodate and we help them. Because anybody study in Sri Lanka is free. Other than these private colleges, so we are not charging anything. So we have that government scholarships. In addition to that, we have that self-finance. You have to meet your own expenditure, that's all. Course is free, but food and accommodation you have to meet. So likewise, we have the system. So at the moment, more than 300 Nepali students completed recently their studies in Sri Lanka. So the trade, when you come to the trade in 1979, we have that bilateral trade agreement with Sri Lanka. So on that basis, we don't have the avoidance of the double taxation. When we import from Nepal, we have to pay tax. When the government of Nepal imports something, then we have to pay. So avoidance of the double taxation, either side, we have no charges or taxes. So we targeted a lot of list of items from Sri Lanka to Nepal. So we are also very famous for the gem and jewelry, which I showed earlier, and the fish and the seafood. Sri Lanka is being an island surrounded by the sea. We have a lot of fish industry. Then of course the tea, rubber and rubber byproducts, coconut products and the cement, textile including the made up garments, batik. So these are the traditional export items from Sri Lanka to Nepal which we are recommending. So now we are recommending from Nepal to Sri Lanka. So we are importing a lot of items from these things like jute and jute products. Then now like a pashmina. So this is very famous in Sri Lanka. And German and most of the countries, pashmina is very famous Nepali products. So medicinal herbs, because being the Himalayan range, you have a lot of forestry. So a lot of herbs are there. So we can do that. And the lentil, then of course handicraft. If you look at if you go to Tamil area, you can see the beauty of the handicraft of Nepal. So we also buy a lot of visiting Sri Lankan from that one. So investment. If you look at the investment, of course, we don't have much higher investment ratio, but Nepal has already invested in Sri Lanka over $200 million. So if you look at the Hotel Taj Samudra belongs to Nepal. Of course, the Grand Oriental Hotel also belongs to Nepal. Now, Chaudhary Group proudly announced that Chaudhary Group is already captured in Sri Lankan market, especially the laser project. So we are so grateful to them. They have already conquered in Sri Lanka. So another $100 million. So they have the projects in Sri Lanka, and different groups are there. And Nepal Chamber of Commerce, Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce, they are visiting to have the negotiations. So this is the Hotel Taj Samudra belong to the Nepal. Then of the Grand Oriental Hotel, the way back early 1940s. This is one of the oldest hotel. And the tourism, the most important thing here is the tourism. So we are also finalization of a tourism cooperation agreement between Sri Lanka and Nepal, which will enhance the possibility of the package tour to Lumbini, historical Buddhist places. Now the Lumbini is the most important tourist attraction of the world. So if we have that international airport, I think now the complete the year 2016 October, the finalization of the Lumbini airport, Buddha airport in Lumbini, the location Bhairava airport. So in Sri Lanka every year we take 10,000, 15,000 people in the charter flights, because Sri Lankan people travel to India only 2 million per annum. Saudi Arabia around 500,000. So the Jerusalem and other Rome, Italy, over 100,000. So they have the charter flights. So lot of Sri Lankan people, so they have the middle age income, so they want to visit after the retirement. So most of the people are visiting, traveling. Even the Buddha Gaya, we have daily flights to Lumbini, the Buddha Gaya. So likewise the season, we have a lot of flights. So we are also targeting possibility of this Lumbini area, the charter flights. So at the moment, Sri Lankan visits 70,000 to Lumbini. This is the number one. Number two, of course, the Thailand over 50,000. So we are leading to Lumbini, the number one. So that is why we have this special interest. Sri Lankan travelers, visitors to Lumbini area. So over 10,000 people visiting to Kathmandu by air. So we are also targeting the awareness program where the Sri Lankan should learn to come to Nepal. We have a lot of attraction. Now we are also making the finalization of the air connectivity. The government side already cleared Nepali side. Only the problem from Sri Lankan side, we have only the 22 aircraft and the budget airline only 7 aircraft. They have already get in touch with the high routes like Middle East, then of course the Western countries. It's very difficult to get at least one time per week. So now we are more or less finalization to air connectivity to Kathmandu. Then of course we have the lot of tourist attraction travel. The role in of course of regional development. So Sri Lanka is also attached the greatest importance with our bilateral relation with Nepal as well as member of the SAARC. SAARC of course being an 8-member countries and having lot of variation. Now Maldives almost 400,000, but India over 1.2 billion. Where Nepal we have the 28 million, so Sri Lanka we have only 21 million. So Pakistan over 170 million and Bangladesh 165 million. So we have the lots of gaps over there. But when we come to the final agenda, each country has the similar status. That is why we have to improve the SAARC, where we can meet all the head of the state in November, this beautiful country, to attend the 18th SAARC summit. Yeah, do this. So now we can see that a lot of interaction with this year only. Nepal and Sri Lanka relation is a new page. Why? We invited a lot of Sri Lankan, a lot of Nepali delegation to visit Sri Lanka, because we have that rehabilitation, recreational activities. Then of course we had the 30 years war. So we have that lot of problems, how we solve that, how we reintegration. Now of course we came to the development process of this LTT hardcore. How do we do? So we have a lot of things over there, similarities. And now look at this delegation for this month. We had these are the January onwards to July. How many delegations from Nepal visited Sri Lanka? So you can imagine that we did not have earlier. Why? We have close and cordial relation between two countries. And our delegations also visit here to attend various conferences and study tours. So the close ties with our Nepal has enhanced. That is why all these study tours, workshops, seminars are conducted each other. So now 18th SAARC summit in Kathmandu, as I mentioned. So President and the ministers and the senior official will visit here. When the President here, so we are also discussing on our economic, cultural, education and investment. So both countries we are finalizing our economic agenda and the trade agenda, come to that level and discuss. So when two presidents meet each other, that is the peak of the diplomatic ties. Why? We give a lot of prominent place. If the president says you do this, then we have to do that. So that is why the country, one of the head of the state visit to a particular country, which will resemble the enhance our close, cordial, diplomatic and bilateral relation with these two countries. So this is the number of delegation from Sri Lanka. This one, yeah. Nepal delegation to Sri Lanka. Previous one, of course, Nepal, Sri Lanka delegation to Nepal. So we can see that the July month, how many delegations from Nepal? 9 delegations. How many members? 89 members. So still we have 2 more delegations to go. We have not counted yet. They did not get the visas. So likewise, the important thing here, now we have the close ties with each other. Education, we have the education separate. The trade, we have the separate institute to handle that. Foreign ministry, we are coordinating with the embassies, but others, they take their own way to have these meetings. So last month, of course, the Honorable Purushottam Pawar, the Minister of Sports, visited Sri Lanka in May to attend the World Youth Forum, which was held in Sri Lanka over 162 countries. Then Honorable Chief Justice will be also visiting next week to attend regional meetings, all the Chief Justice. Then of course Honorable Narayan Khadka, the Minister of Urban Development, visiting next week. Day before yesterday I met the Honorable Minister, so we are finalizing. So while we are handling this, we invite all the ministers to visit there. So Sri Lankan ministers visit here, these ministers visit there, then they discuss what are the important things among the similarities, among their problems, issues, how do we enhance their cooperation. And the multilateral dimension, Sri Lanka and Nepal, being a SAARC members, we are also helping each other. If there is a problem in the UN, or if any Nepali delegates trying to become the chairman or the president of the particular organization, Sri Lanka support. So likewise, we are helping each other. So our common aspiration is very useful. Our diplomatic relation, bilateral relation is very useful to each other to come to the multilateral dimension. Why? This is only one voice, only Sri Lanka, Nepal, but we are come together, we are representing SAARC. So we are representing the regional dimension, regional voice. That is how become the international. Therefore, the UN, then other international fora, non-aligned movement, CHOGM, of course not a member of Nepal, but we are focusing on our voices over there. And the G77, the NAM, and the Commonwealth of Sri Lanka, we had that last year November, 52 head of the state visited Sri Lanka, except 2-3 head of the state. We showed the world leaders how the development of Sri Lanka. So now Sri Lanka also had a lot of new projects to have international level, integrated road development areas, investment programs. So last 2 years, 2013, we had over $2 billion FDI, foreign direct investment in Sri Lanka. So we are targeting a lot of investors to come in, invest in Sri Lanka. We have given 15 years tax holidays, free import of raw materials, lot of facilities for that. That is why in 1977 we gave a lot of facilities. So we have over 167 various countries factories. So we import, actually we export. Now for example, Noritake, the famous cookery and cutlery sets. So we produce and send it in the Japan name to other countries. So we get a lot of benefits. Now after this problem, now we import a lot of vehicles. Now what we don't, it was now the Maruti, Suzuki and the Tata. Now they are going to have a regional plant in Sri Lanka. So we import a lot of items there. Now we said no, it is very difficult. Now we have our own car manufacturing in early 60s. But we lost it. Now we again started 3 years ago. We are manufacturing buses, cars, lorries. Our market is in South African countries. At the same time, now we import. We give the importance to other countries also to invest in Sri Lanka. Now especially the vehicles. So now 2 companies from India already make the preparation to establish their the car plant in Sri Lanka. So the Bay of Bengal, now at the BIMSTEC, if you look at that BIMSTEC, I think Nepal is the chair for the BIMSTEC next year, 4th BIMSTEC summit to be held in Kathmandu after SAARC. So these are the BIMSTEC members. Why we call BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiatives of Multilateral Technical and Economic Cooperation. So when we have that the two countries cooperation, we are not isolated. We are talking with each other. We have the common problems. So we discuss about it. Taxes or the immigration problem, custom problem. So we have these issues and amicably discuss about it. So the other one, of course, the World Trade Center, World Trade Organization, WTO. If you have any issues or problems, so we have to tackle with our other members. So this is the most important thing. So I think I took 35 minutes, I said around 30 minutes because we have to cut short that. Lot of things are there, but go also beyond the topic, but there are some important things here to be discussed also. Now of course I would like to open the floor for you and to discuss. So we have another half an hour depending on the Mr. Casey's details. Please,